morning, good morning, good morning. Blessed Sunday to you all. Thank you for joining us for meditation and the opening music. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Hope you're having a beautiful week. And I'm going to start off a little bit today in the holiday spirit and the holiday themes. Play one of my favorite holiday songs, Christmas songs, you could say, and a little bit of a medley just to get us going. But I want to invite everyone, turn on your cameras, go to the gallery view, wave at somebody. I like to do it as well so I can see everybody as I get us going with just a little holiday vibe. You know, they used to tell us, remember the reason for the season. It's a season of joy, a season of giving, a season of giving thanks. As we celebrate the winter solstice and all the beautiful things, also the birth of the Christ. Give thanks for the child and the birth of the Christ. Happy holidays. Now I'm going to turn it over to Elena. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kev. Starting us off in the holiday spirit, right? Our musicians today are the inimitable Kev Choice and the fabulous Jennifer Johns. I'm Elena Hutchinson, and I'm your host today. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living Online. This is for now a virtual space where we learn spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all of life. In order to maintain a sacred space and enhance the quality of our online connection, I invite each of you to take a moment to make sure that your microphone is muted and your video is turned off. And we will have an opportunity, as usual, at the end to put all that back on and say hi to each other. So as we start our service, we would like to offer a special welcome to anyone who is joining us for the first time today. If you need information about our center or want to connect with us for any reason, please email our administrative coordinator, Constance Chapman. Her email address is constance@oaklandcsl.org. And now we would like to bless our children wherever they are. If you're wanting to read along with me, great. And if you're muted, please feel free to read out loud. Let's see if we get to the right one. Or if not, I'll just read it. So, our blessing for our youth. We honor all our youth and children in our community and in the world. We love you. We see you. You are Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives. And so it is. So, announcements. We may be in the middle of a pandemic, but it's the holidays, y'all. I have been told that for the first time in 794 years, we will actually be able to see the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn brightening the sky on the longest night of the year, the winter solstice. On December 21st, right after sunset, look to the southwest sky and see what some astronomers call the Christmas star, because of the belief that the Star of Bethlehem may have been a planetary conjunction. Apparently, the universe decided that we needed something a little special this year. So that's your homework for Monday. Tuesday night, you got the night off. Wednesday, join us for our winter solstice service with practitioner Judith Roberts. See, I got winter solstice service right, and then I messed up her name. It's with practitioner Judith Roberts. Meditation is at 6:30 and service is at 7. And then on Wednesday night, our Christmas Eve candlelight service that we have annually is happening virtually, December 24th at 7 p.m. We're asking you to have a votive candle and a taper candle available wherever you are in order to participate fully. You can get the Zoom call-in information for both services at our website at oaklandcsl.org. And then, forget 794 years. For the first time in the history of the world, the 4 a.m. Global Peace Meditation on December 31st is going to be on Zoom. Going back, if you're looking at your screen, for those of you who might be Candle Vocabulary Challenge, there was a picture of Reverend Sally holding a votive and a taper candle. All right, the Zoom meditation on December 31st. I think it is being held on Zoom for the first time in the history of the world. I'm making that up, but I think that's probably true. So you get to watch it from the comfort of your own bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. Join with everyone all over the world for the peace meditation. The link is on the events page of our website. For our final holiday event, start the new year with a vision board. Registration for the 2021 Vision Board Party is open now. This is going to be a virtual event this year. It'll start on January 9th. Deborah Jackson, assisted by Reverend Sally and practitioner Bathsheba Harambe from East Bay Church of Religious Science, will lead you into your vision for 2021 and talk about the logistics of doing the vision board from your own home. Vision board kits will be available after you register. And because it's virtual, you can make it a family affair. And then on January 30th, everyone will gather to show their boards and share their vision for 2021. This is a fundraiser for Oakland Center, and no one will be turned away. The suggested love offering is $50 or more per person, and you're encouraged to bring a friend. So moving on to January, if you are Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, and you want to explore the impact of racialized trauma on your body, Centers for Spiritual Living is offering a Sacred Circle series starting in January for both practitioners and congregants. Sign-up information is available in the Village News, our weekly newsletter, and I assume it's also available on the csl.org website. And finally, the Wizards of Abundance and Circulation have heard your cries, and they have set up Text to Give. So you can donate without even going to the website by texting at 510-327-3431. Follow the prompts and your donation will be securely sent to OCSL. And as usual, we have tons of stuff going on, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. So check us out at oaklandcsl.org. And now, if you would like to follow along with me as I read our vision and mission statement, I invite you to do so. And if you're muted, please feel free to read along out loud.
He's having his last breaths right now.
The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. And so it is. And now I'm going to turn this over to our pulpit assistant for today, Judith Roberts.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this service on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. I have two readings, and I'd like to invite you to go within. Maybe close your eyes as you take in these two readings. The first reading is from Ernest Holmes, and he says, "Ye are the light of the world. Man is the candle of the Lord. How important then that this light be kept trimmed and burning with the oil of pure spirit through the wick of peace and joy. In this way do we glorify that indwelling." And the second reading is from Eckhart Tolle, who says, "There is only one perpetrator of evil on the planet, human unconsciousness. With this realization, your victim identity dissolves and your true power emerges. Instead of blaming darkness, you bring in the light." So with that, I'd like to move into prayer, knowing that in this challenging time, knowing that in this time when we celebrate the return of the light as solstice draws nearer, the time when the sun stands still in the northern hemisphere and we begin to see the days grow longer, that within us is the light. Within us is a light that never dims. Within us is a light that never waxes or wanes. It is constant. And it is the light of the Creator. It is the light of the divine. And that light is compassion and kindness and love and deep peace and grace. It is the indwelling light that shines and shines and shines. And so as I know that that light is shining within each one of us, I know that as we move into this service and Reverend Jacquelyn speaks to us about truth, about the divine spirit, as she reminds us of who and whose we really are, I know that she is divinely guided by spirit, guided, guarded, and directed. And that everyone who is participating in this service in any way is divinely guided. And that this service unfolds in a way that enriches each one of us, that takes us deeper into ourselves, that helps us find that well of peace within us, in spite of everything that may be challenging us and that's going on in the outer world. That the inner world is a sanctuary, and we find that sanctuary. that is within each one of us, always. And so I bless this service, knowing that all is well. And I invite you to say with me, and so it is. Amen. And now I would like to turn this over to Jennifer Johns. Thank you.
Hello, family. You guys so very, very much. Can you guys hear me? Good. I just want to say quickly that I love and I appreciate and I miss you guys with my whole soul and heart. And I am so, so grateful to be able to consistently still be a part of this community, even when I'm moving around the world. So I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you. Oh, my soul, rejoice and take joy, my Queen, in what you hear. Let me be the sweet, sweet sound in your universal divine essence, bless every single word that is about to come out of this Queen Mother's mouth. This Queen Dr. Reverend Jackie is about to bless us so divinely. I give thanks that I get to usher in this space. Ashe and amen. Can't hear you.
Ashe, Amen, Amin, Aho. And so it is, and so it is. And so what I know is that God is now and always has been the good to which there is no opposite. And I know that that good, that idea and that expression and that experience of communications is flowing through me and each one of us right now. And as such, there is a sweet, divine connection, heart to heart, soul to soul, and yes, mind to mind. And so it is with a sense of gratitude for this opportunity to stand in this place called Oakland Center for Spiritual Living in this moment that I simply say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mother God. Let's get it on. Ashe and Amen. Good morning, a good God day, a good God day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, I want to express gratitude to Reverend Jeff for allowing me and inviting me and trusting me with his pulpit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to say thank you, gratitude to Kevin Joyce for the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music preludes to the service this morning and at the end of the meditation. I want to say thank you to the team today, the people that we saw, Judith and Elena, and the people that we don't see behind the scenes that bring us this service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to start with this idea that what we do in service, what we do in all of our services is that we invoke so that we can evoke, Now, if you notice that little movement there, you'll think about it in terms of what we call our teaching symbol. I happen to have on my stole from First Church. And in this stole is this teaching symbol that we use. And we can see the idea that we can invoke and evoke. So I want to invite us to consider that we invoke these ideas so that we can then evoke or evolve into our greater yet to be. And it is in that context that I want to start by invoking this idea of the Sankofa. This is the Sankofa bird. This Sankofa bird comes from the Akan tradition of West Africa. And the meaning of the Sankofa bird is that we must look back to the past so that we may understand how we became what we are and move forward to a better future. The egg that the Sankofa bird is reaching back to pick up represents the fragility, how fragile it is. This whole process that we're in of creation, of creativity, is a fragile process. You can't see the feet of the bird in this particular picture because you can't, because they're cut off here. But the feet and the body are looking and moving forward. And I invoke that idea and that concept of the Sankofa so that along with a couple of other ideas, we can use that as a foundation in our moving forward. Earlier, we heard the quotes for today's idea, this idea of cultivating light. And the overarching theme for the month of December is cultivating divine truth. So we have divine truth, and within that truth is this idea of cultivating light. That implies that within divine truth, there is light. It implies, and we're going to play with today, this idea that in fact, light, being the light, allowing our light to so shine, right, that everyone can see it, allowing our activities to be so powerful that we change, that we make a difference, that we evoke or evolve into a new way of being. In the Eckhart Tolle quote, there is this idea that there is only one perpetrator of evil on the planet. And that one perpetrator is human unconsciousness. Now, I want to invite us to look at and focus on that idea that the perpetrator of evil, however many ways we may see that, and we'll tease into that a little bit later on, but is human unconsciousness. That means the not knowing, that the things that we don't know or choose to ignore, right? Somebody, Joy DeGruy, calls that cognizant dissonance, right? So I see the thing, I know intellectually what the thing is, but I either decide that the thing that I see is not what I'm seeing, or that it doesn't mean the thing that I've known it to mean forever, right? So we have lots of examples in our culture and in our society of that. So when some of us hear the terms, for example, hear the term systemic racism, some of us go to, oh, that's not a thing. That's not real. That doesn't exist. Somebody's making that up. That is cognitive dissonance. I want to continue moving here in this idea that the perpetrator of evil on the planet is human unconsciousness. We realize that when we deepen our consciousness, when we move from being unconscious to being conscious, then in fact, we're moving from evil to good, or in the context of cultivating divine truth, we're moving from what's not true into what is true. My daughter and I had the privilege and the honor of traveling to Egypt at the end of last year. And interestingly enough, our tour guide called our group, he named our group Horus. Now, his reason for naming our group was so that when we were in the midst of the pyramids and the tombs and the various places that we would go on tour, he could call out, as he often did, Horus, and we would know that that was him, and we gather to go on to our next place. Now, Horus, interestingly enough, is also a person who represents one of the first virgin birth stories. What did she say? Yes. Horus, the Egyptian god Horus, can be paralleled with Jesus. Horus was born to Isis, the god Isis, 5,000 years ago. Jesus was born 2,000 years ago, or so the story goes as we teach it. There are some amazing parallels between the lives of these two individuals. Both came from virgin births. In both instances, their births were announced by an angel. In both instances, wise men followed the sun or a star to discover where they were. Now, interestingly enough, in the case of Horus, the wise men followed the sun or the morning star, which universally represents light. In both instances, their mothers had to go and hide. Horus and his mother Isis hid someplace in Egypt. Now, Mary had to go to Egypt to hide. Both Jesus and Horus were baptized at the age of 30. Both had 12 disciples. Both walked on water and performed miracles, including raising family members from the dead. As I understand it, Lazarus was Jesus's cousin. In the case of Horus, he raised his father, Osiris, from the dead. Both were crucified, both were buried in tombs, and both were resurrected 3 days later. And in their respective times, they were both referred to as the Lamb of God or the breath of life. Now we're talking a little bit about Sankofa, looking back to the past so we can understand how we got to the future. Now, somehow that particular iteration of a virgin birth is not one that waffled down into our general cultural knowledge and understanding. So why do I bring it up? I bring it up because one of the things we're required to do in this holy season, in this time where people all over the world are celebrating light in one way or another, we get to bring the whole thing to the light. Because it is only as we bring the whole truth, is only as we recognize, know again, see again, step away from cognitive dissonance and step into recognition, which we also call our second step of prayer, right? We recognize, we remember that we are one with the divine. As we remember that we are one with the divine, we are called upon to remember that we're one with all of it, not just some parts of it. right now we have, and by right now, I'm going to just take in the month of December. So December 8th was Bodhi Day, which is the celebration of the Buddha's enlightenment. Enlightenment. See that light right there in the middle of that word? That is when the Buddha came to realize what's going on in the world. Very short descriptor there, and not meant to offend. From December 10th to 18th, we have Hanukkah, 8 days. What is that? The festival of the lights. December 21st, tomorrow, is the winter solstice, which is celebrated in the pagan traditions. Now, the winter solstice is actually the shortest day of the year, which means we have the longest night of the year. But sicky, right after that, on December 22nd, we start having longer and longer days, meaning we start coming more and more into the light. So what I want to invite us to do is to walk that consciously, not inviting us to necessarily celebrate from a pagan place of worship. That's up to you. That's an individual or personal choice. Personally, I am absolutely going to represent and celebrate and acknowledge the winter solstice tomorrow because it's important. We are having an event here at Oakland Center to recognize the winter solstice, to recognize coming out of our metaphorical darkness and into the light. We are also today going to look just a little bit at how we weave the feminine face of God into all of it. Because, wait, without Mary and Isis, none of this would be possible. That's on the celebratory side. On the going forward side, there are those that say we are entering into the age of Aquarius. Entering into the age of Aquarius implies that we're entering into a period of wholeness, of healing, of caring for one another, of loving one another. And Lord knows, as my mother would say, Lord knows our current circumstances are inviting us to love one another, to care for one another, to pray with one another, to stand with each other as we collectively move forward into the greater yet to be that can only be because we are co-creating it. We have everything that we need to create a world that works for everyone. Now, whether or not we'll actually get to creating a world that works for everyone, maybe, maybe not. What I'm 100% sure of, though, is that we will, through our will, our personal and our individual will, create a world in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive. I want to go a little bit back to one of those quotes, the Ernest Holmes quote. Reverend E is fond of saying that Ernest Holmes says things and then we think that Ernest Holmes originated the thing. So we're going to go to the Holmes quote and then we're going to step a little bit behind that and really drill down into it a little bit. So Ernest Holmes, in the quote we looked at today, says, "Ye are the light of the world. Man is the candle of the Lord," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to give you the opportunity to refer back to that quote on your own. It is on page 430 of the Science of Mind textbook. But let's go to Matthew 5:13, which is where it comes from. Matthew 5:13 says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house." And now this is where we get the juice of it, right? This is where we get the juice. Let your light so shine before men and women, before people, that they may see your good works and glorify Spirit, which is in heaven. Now we're going to look at the definition of heaven and what we're talking about there in just a moment. But hear that. Let your light so shine that they may see your good works, and glorify that which is within you. I'm going to sneak into it a little bit now. And glorify your spirit that is in heaven. Glorify that which is within you that you are letting shine, that you have cultivated. Now, when we talk about cultivation, we have to understand that that means there's something already there to cultivate, right? Right? We can't just cultivate the air. There has to be something already inside of each one of us that is cultivatable, if you will. When we look at this idea that there is something within, then we get to look around and see where we are connected with that which is within to that which is within everyone. And we get to, again, come back to that idea of recognizing, of knowing again, that we are immersed in an infinite knowingness. That we have to ask the question, how much of this reality that we are immersed in are we going to express in our own lives? Now, this is another different quote from Ernest Holmes. And he starts out by saying, to return to a sane, meaning there must be something insane going on, to return to a sane simplicity is one of the first and most important things to do. Then he goes on to say, all people receive some light, and this light is always the same light. There is one nature diffused throughout all nature, one God incarnated in all people. Cultivating this light means practice. That's how we cultivate it. It means that we have to practice what we say we believe. When I look at this idea of creating a world in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive, or creating a world that works for everyone, then I have to look at, and by I have to, I mean I'm compelled to look at what I see or how I see out there in the world or in here in the world right now. And one of the things that I'm seeing, and perhaps you are as well, is this idea that there's only limited choice, right? There's only so many things that we can choose from, that we either have to have socialism or capitalism, right? Because those are the only choices that there are. Because we don't have any kind of creative ability to create something different. I'm going back now to that invoking what there is so that we can evoke or evolve something else. Wouldn't it be nice if we actually had a creative energy within us and as us that we get to walk with and be with, that gives us the opportunity to look at what's going on in the world and create something that works, that while it may tease from the Sankofa, pull upon, reach back and look at some of the paradigms that we put in place, we don't have to take the whole thing. Wouldn't it be nice if we could, in fact, do that? If we are, in fact, looking for the opportunity and being willing to participate, then we have to recognize our own ability to create what works. This requires commitment to a spiritual practice. I want to call in, I want to invoke the spirit of Howard Thurman, because when we speak about being a light unto the world, we have to include Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. Howard Thurman points out, when talking about this idea of Christianity, this idea of Christ, this idea of Jesus, and I'm going to add this idea of Horus, right? That what we are invited to do is not keep it in the stratosphere, right? Which is, some of us, we like to keep it there. We like to talk about the Christ consciousness. I understand that the Christ consciousness is a part of who I am, and that from this place, this awareness of this really somewhat abstract idea of the Christ consciousness, I can choose my activities in the world. Isn't that nice? Isn't that wonderful? Glory, glory, hallelujah. But suppose, as Howard Thurman invites us to do, we instead look at the life of the man Jesus. Suppose we look at the life of the God or man, God, man, Horus. Suppose we look at their actions and their activities and we follow that. Howard Thurman tells us that the difference between looking at the religion about Jesus or the spirituality about the Christ consciousness and the religion of Jesus or the religion of Horus is that we are looking at a spirituality that is anchored in justice and equity. I want to invite you, and I guess I need to give a disclosure. Yes, I am a member of KQED and I make contributions. Now, I want to invite you to look at the documentary Backs Against the Wall, which is the Howard Thurman story, at pbs.org. One of the things that Howard Thurman really insists that we look at is the idea that we must have an inner sanctuary, that in order to do the work, that we have to step from a place of inner knowing and inner peace. We call that spiritual practice. I myself have a daily spiritual practice, without which my day goes insane. I invite you to just try it, to taste and see. Now, when I say my day goes insane, in the vein of what I'm talking about in terms of being like Jesus, as opposed to just having understanding that I have a Christ consciousness, my steps are ordered. My words are ordered. My go, be here, participate with this, read this book is ordered. Today, we are invited to choose who or what we will serve. Today, we are invited to remember that we have a moral imperative. When I say I don't know if creating a world that works for everyone is possible, it's because I do not know that everyone is willing to abandon greed for the idea of abundance for all. I do not know if everyone is willing to abandon systemic racism for justice, or to abandon patriarchy for gender equity, or to abandon destruction of the planet for loving and caring for Mama Earth, to abandon fear for love, so that the world we seek to create may work for everyone. But what I do know is that Spirit, Mother God, is the good to which there is no opposite, and that will prevail. Of this, there is no doubt. We universally, because I see it universally, but I'm going to speak to it specifically within Centers for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind. We've been dancing with this idea that there is work for us to do that is spiritually and divinely guided and motivated, and that will propel us all forward into our greater yet to be. We walk up and we touch it, you know, like you touch something hot, and then we jump back. In the last 4-5 years, we have had as our spiritual hero for the year, I still call it Science of Mind magazine. It has a newer title. It has been Pope Francis. It has been Malala. It has been Brene Brown. And this year it's Brian Stevenson, whose life is committed to ending the death penalty, to equity and justice for everyone, and to telling the truth. Yesterday, I was listening to the radio, and there was this idea that the COVID vaccine should go to people in prison because of their cramped quarters. The pushback on that was, what? You're gonna give the COVID vaccination to murderers before you give it to healthy senior citizens walking around in the world? That sounds like something, doesn't it? So I went to the Federal Bureau of Prisons website. And do you know what I found out? I found out that only 3.3% of the people in federal prison anyway are there for homicide. But we all know about the conditions in prisons. I'm just saying, what is it that we want? I'm going to wrap up now with this idea that Christ fulfills the light, fulfills the law, by being the light. Back to Matthew 5, verses 17 through 20, just highlighting some of those. This is the man Jesus speaking. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly, I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot will by no means pass from the law until all is fulfilled. Succinctly, I want to invite us to consider that the law is a law for good. And until that law for good for all is manifested, none of it will be manifested, regardless to how much stuff we have. The way they say it there in verse 20 is, for I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. Heaven is the Christ consciousness, the realm of divine mind, a state of consciousness in harmony with the thoughts of spirit. Heaven is everywhere present. It is orderly, lawful adjustment of the kingdom in our mind, body, and affairs. Unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees. The Pharisees represent the state of consciousness that is concerned with the customs and the formalities. The scribes represent fixed ideas built up in a consciousness thought through adhering to tradition and superstition. We are the light of the world. That is what we agreed to. That is why all of us are here right now, because we raised our hands and said, send me. And so in that consciousness and in that awareness of send me, of I am willing to be the one, I invite us to dig deep, to do our spiritual practices, to identify that thing that is uniquely and divinely ours to do, and to go out and do it with joy. Ashe, Amen, Amin, Aho, and so it is. And so I invite you to join me in prayer. Just take a breath first. Let's all just take a breath. Let's inhale, hold it, and release. And so what I know is that God is all there is. Spirit is all there is. Mother God is all there is. What I know is that God is a healing force, is a force and a power for good that operates in, as, and through each one of us. And I know that this force, this power for good that is operating in, as, and through each one of us is working through each one that we include in our prayers today. I bless our nonprofit partner, trust holders. We bless and know that their goal of bringing ease and comfort to those who are at that crossroad of living and dying is impeccably fulfilled and met. We bless our planet, Mother Earth, knowing that Mother Earth and Father, Son work together for our best and highest good, and we cooperate with that. We're blessing this idea of creating a world that works for everyone, or at least a world in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive. We bring the idea and the expression and the experience of love, comfort, and healing to all of those requiring such. At the top of our list, we put our own beloved Reverend Jeff Anderson. We include Taylor and Phyllis Balmy. We include Leela. We include Doris Reed. We include everyone in the entire planet who is in any way impacted by this thing called COVID-19. Be it impacted because of all of the things that are going on in terms of living conditions and employment and the state of the economy overall, or be it impacted through losing loved ones, or be it impacted simply because we just don't know. We just don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and we don't know what we do. I'm blessing and giving thanks for the vaccines that are unfolding and unrolling across the planet, knowing that there is efficacy and there's equity. There's efficacy in the vaccine and there's equity in the administration of the vaccine. I'm reaching out to the souls and the spirit of those who have crossed over, who have crossed the veil, those souls who I know and we know from our experiences are standing right here, that they're right here, that they may be in a different form, but the love of Richard Robinson and the love of Yemiya Huff is absolutely resonating in, as, and through each one of us as we feel their vibratory energy and know that the work they do on the other side of the veil complements the work that we do on this side. I invite everyone in our audience to speak out the name of anyone in your heart that may need prayer right now. I invite everyone to say a word of gratitude for the life of anyone that may have joined Richard and Yemiya in having crossed over. I invite each one to join me in declaring that regardless of appearances or opinions, that all is well. If anything I've said here resonates with you in any way, please join me in declaring Ashe, Aho, Amen, Amin. And as a dear friend likes to say, and woo-hoo! And so it is. Now, if you will bear with me for a moment while I pull out my order of service, go back to my order of service for today. I think that this is your opportunity to participate. I believe that we are, yes, talk, prayer, sacred giving. This is time for us to step up and step out, to put, as somebody said, your money where your mouth is. We have an opportunity right now to give from our overflow. What did she say? Does she know? Didn't she just finish talking about what's going on in the world? Yes. We have the opportunity to give from our overflow. I invite you to put your faith in action. And what I promise is that if we just stretch just a little bit, just a little bit, and I do mean by just a little bit, take that number you have in mind, and even those of us who signed up, because I'm a person that signed up, so you can just take some money every month, regularly, because churches need to do that. But even though I've signed up, I still put a little something extra in. Why? Because I understand that there is a circulation opportunity going on here. And I just want to tell you that it's been working for me. And what I know is that if it works for me, it works for you. We have a giving affirmation that was up on the screen for just a moment there. If we could get that back, we can say that together. What we have now are the ways that we can give. Okay, there's our affirmation. Let's say that together. Can I have the affirmation back, please? Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance. That's what I'm talking about, an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. Really, we receive so much more, so much more. And now to the ways that we can give. We can give online. We can go to ocsl.org, or we can text, give by text. I just want to tell you that's a fabulous way to give. On your phone, text to this number, 510-327-3888. 3431. And when you put that in, you put give as your message, right? That's your text message. And it will take care of itself. It will give you all the directions you need to make a contribution. I want to again say how grateful, absolutely grateful I am for having the opportunity to be with you today. I wish you a happy, safe, healthy, love and joy filled and creativity filled, meaning honor the conditions that we're being asked to honor and respect. I'm just going to say it my way, stay home. Honor that and be creative. Have some holiday spirit with joy, with love, with peace, with power, with prosperity, and all the good stuff. Walk your Jesus walk. Walk your Horus walk. Ashe, amen, and so it is. And I turn it back over to Judith.
Thank you, Reverend Jacquelyn, for that beautiful, powerful talk. And we are grateful that you were here today with us. Thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank everybody who participated in the service. Kev Choice and Jennifer Johns for their beautiful music inspiration. All of the behind the scenes people, all of our tech people, our host, our everybody, everyone who's participated in any way, we thank you so much because you are the ones that make this a wonderful service for all of us who are at home, who are both near and far. So thank you very much. Elena will be hosting the prayer room after service. So after service is over, we can hang out a little bit and say hi and bye. And then if you need prayer or request prayer, let Elena know. And she will assign you to a breakout room with a practitioner. I also wanted to mention again, as we do every Sunday, that many practitioners are available to offer a free 30-minute practitioner session. And you can find their names on our website at oaklandcsl.org. There's a list of people who are available, and please contact the practitioners anytime. Sometimes the holidays can be challenging, and we want everybody to be fully supported and know that you are loved. And now I'd like to invite you to join me in our closing affirmation. I think we have a slide for it. Next one. Okay, here it is. So please join me. I joyously walk in the light. My consciousness is illumined. I let my light shine. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you so much. And now I would like to turn the service over to Kev Choice. Kev.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And just a beautiful and powerful service. I want to thank Reverend Jacquelyn for the word. It's just really inspiring, really powerful. You know, it's like listening to the angels from the heavens. So I'm going to do this last song as a dedication to all of you again. Hope you have a happy holiday season this week. Turn on your cameras again and wave. I like to be connected. I like to see the faces. As we think about the blessings that we have. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and sing Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and sing Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and sing Take a deep breath. Amen. Thank you very much. Have a blessed